Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, a production of flagandbanner.com. Through storytelling and conversational interviews, this weekly radio show offers listeners first-hand insight in starting and running a business, the ups and downs of risk-taking, and the commonalities of successful people. Connect with Kerry through her candid, often funny, and informative weekly blog, where you'll read and comment on life as wife, mother, daughter, and entrepreneur. And now it's time for Kerry McCoy to get all up in your business.
You're listening to KABF in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm Kerry McCoy, and it's time for me to get all up in your business. For the next hour, I will be taking calls, answering questions, and trying my best to give good advice to small business owners and to people who dream of owning their own small business. You may be asking yourself, what makes this lady qualified to do this? And I'll tell you, experience. So in a minute, you can call and ask me anything. My experience is deep and wide, and my advice is free. Unbelievable. 40 years ago, with just $400, I started Arkansas Flag and Banner. Since then, it's morphed into flagandbanner.com with sales nearing $4 million. That's worth saying again. I started Arkansas Flag and Banner with just $400, and today our sales are almost $4 million. I started by selling flags door to door, then went to telemarketing, next mail order and catalog sales, and today we rely heavily on the internet. In addition, over the last 40 years, I've navigated Flag and Banner through 2 recessions and 2 wars. When people find out I'm that woman who owns Arkansas Flag and Banner, they often say, "Oh, I've heard about you," and begin asking me business advice. I amaze even myself with all the knowledge I've gained. If you call me for advice, you will not be given textbook answers or theory, but you will be given candid advice from my real-world experience. So be prepared to hear the truth. It's not always easy to hear. For instance, you may not want to hear this. In business, there are very few overnight successes, although the 2 people sitting with me at the table today were. But starting and owning a business takes persistence, perseverance, and patience. When I started Arkansas Flag and Banner, I supplemented my income by waitressing, all while I peddled my flags door to door. After 9 years, did you hear me? 9 years of working a part-time job, the company began to grow and solely support me. My first hire was a bookkeeper to handle the clerical side of my business. My first expansion was to begin the manufacturing of custom flags, so a sewing department developed. The next decade ushered in Desert Storm War. Flags were scarce, so a screen printing department was hurriedly built to meet consumer demands. In addition to sales and manufacturing, Flag and Banner now has a purchasing department, a shipping department, technology department, marketing department, call center, and a retail store. And I spearheaded the development of every one of these departments. My experience is deep and wide, and my advice is free. Unbelievable. Before we start taking calls, I want to introduce you to the people at the table. We have Tim Bowen, our technician, who will be taking your calls and pushing the button. Say, "Hey, Tim."
Hey, Tim.
No. Very good. And we have 2 guests today. Sara Slimp, who founded the Chunky Dunk food truck in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Sally Megel, co-founder of Loblolly Creamery in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they've come bearing gifts, only not... I can't believe y'all didn't bring me any cookies and ice cream.
Sorry.
That's all right. I wish the listeners could see this ice cream that I could have, but I don't have. I want to hear about each one of you and how you started your business, but before we do that, cookies and ice cream are a match made in heaven. Mm-hmm. So how did you 2 meet and join up?
About 2 weeks into...
This is Sara Slimp from the Chunky Dunk Food Trip.
Hello. About 2 weeks into starting Chunky Dunk, Sally contacted me. I think it was about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
We had initially started, I knew I wanted to do ice cream, but it was a little bit too big to take on. Started with cookies and icing sandwiches, which is a little bit sweet, and it was still good, but ice cream is definitely the way to go. When Sally contacted me, we were still pretty small, but that was kind of the first sign of like, oh, this will be a thing. I've heard of Loblolly whenever I just moved to Little Rock. I'm the pastry chef at the Root Cafe, and every time I would visit Little Rock, I would go to the Root and Loblolly, and interesting now that I work with both. But Sally, not only, I got to work with her with the ice cream, but also working with her was such an encouragement because she is a, young female that has started a business that I could learn so much from. So it was a great partnership from the start, and I'm very lucky for that.
So Sally, how'd you hear about Chunky Dunk?
I was starting to deliver ice cream up into Fayetteville, and I was looking at who could I partner with that has fun with dessert and would pair well with ice cream. And I deliver ice cream to Blackboard Grocery, a small kind of like urban grocery store, really fun if you're ever in Fayetteville. Go check it out. Say hi to Alicia. And she told me about Chunky Dunk, and so I reached out to Sarah.
And Sarah worked at Blackboard, didn't she?
Yeah.
Sarah's an opportunist. I've known Sarah for how many years? 4 years?
4, yeah.
And you are a major opportunist. She is always taking advantage of opportunities when she finds them.
She's really good at baking.
Thanks, guys. Oh, my gosh.
So, Sarah, I read up a little bit about you because you're written up in Arkansas Life, and I like how you talk about what your friends used to call you when you were a kid.
And I still do, actually. I was a fat pusher in college because I lived with a bunch of girls, and I would come home and I'd be stressed out from school, and so I'd make 8 desserts in my oven, and my roommates would come home and I'd be like, I don't really want this, but I made it, so you guys should just eat it. And I just leave it on our counter, and they hated me.
So I've got to ask Sally about the name. I've always wondered since I heard it. Loblolly. Where did you get that name?
Well, do you know what the state tree is?
No,
I
feel terrible. I don't
Oh no,
know.
It's like a silly trivia question.
I should know that.
Our son is in horticulture.
I
You
know,
should
right?
know this.
Oh, Jack, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
It's a loblolly pine tree. And so I wanted to, I actually remember I was at Vino's with my friends, and I was trying to come up with a name for my ice cream business. And I told my friends, if anyone can come up with a name, I'll give you ice cream for life. And so I was trying to come up with a name that related to Arkansas, because we try to use local seasonal ingredients. So in Arkansas flavors. Southern flavors, and I wanted something whimsical and fun and kind of funny to say. So we were just looking up Arkansas stuff, and someone was looking at the state things, the what the bird was and what the.
So what's the bird?
Isn't it it starts with an M?
Mockingbird.
Mockingbird. Okay, yeah. And then like apple blossom, I think is the flower. Diamond.
We know
whatever.
the diamond.
Yes, we do. Yes.
But that's because I sell flags and it's on the flag. But go ahead.
But yeah, so someone said, "Oh, a loblolly pine tree," and I thought loblolly was a fun name. Sounds like you have a mouthful of food when you say it. It's kind of a tongue twister. I enjoy people kind of like having a hard time saying it because it's just fun. Like it's not serious. It's ice cream. It's not, we're not making.
You're not doing brain surgery.
No brain surgery. No aircrafts. No spaceships.
So
just ice cream.
No one really thought about that name when they say it. I never really knew what it meant. I just, like you said, I just thought, boy, that's a fun name, Loblolly, and I just say it.
Yeah.
So you decided that you were going to start selling something you loved. I think that's what Sarah did. She started selling something she loved.
Yeah. Mine was kind of an accident, actually. I was working at the Green Corner store at the time, and Shelley Green, the owner, and Anita Davis, the landlord, got all these period piece fixtures from the store. The store, if you go, it has all these old pharmacy and soda fountain fixtures, beautiful pieces, which the store used to be a pharmacy from 1906 to 1967. Shelley gave me the opportunity to start a soda fountain. I've worked in food service, owned a coffee cart on campus, worked at an ice cream store. And so she gave me that opportunity, and I wanted to make everything from scratch, the soda syrups and the ice cream, so I started that.
Did you start with the small business incubator in Trinity Cathedral? Is that where you started making? What kitchen did you use?
Yeah, we used Trinity to make our ice cream.
I
yeah,
remember
and that was
that,
really
actually.
nice to have. Yeah, it was a great opportunity. We were with Kent Walker Cheese, a pie company, and a soup company at the time.
I don't think they're still doing that, though. But that is a great way to use an industrial kitchen to see if you can make it work.
Oh,
and to
yeah,
see if
I
it
would
goes.
definitely recommend it. I mean, cottage laws are great, too. Baked goods and some jams and jellies you can just make at home and sell them. But definitely finding an incubator kitchen because kitchens are expensive.
That's right. So, and you don't want to invest the money till you find out if you're good at it. So, Sarah, to make everybody loves a food truck. And when you told me a few years ago you were going to start a food truck, I told you it was a terrible idea.
Oh, everyone did. Everyone did.
No, but in Fayetteville, actually, in Little Rock, it's a little harder. But in Fayetteville, it seems like
especially
they have a food truck scene.
Blown up.
So she never asked me about it again, and I get I get a postcard in the mail, and it's her jumping off a picnic table with balloons in your hand, and it says, "I've graduated."
Oh yeah, because I was doing my master's up until I decided to start the truck about a month or two before I graduated, and my opening day was 2-3 weeks after I graduated with my MSW, which has nothing to do with baking.
No, it doesn't. What is your degree in?
Social work.
And what was your BA in?
Religious studies.
So do you think that this is Providence?
It's an interesting... I have a lot of people... So when I sent out that postcard as my graduation announcement, and I knew it sounded ridiculous. Here I am, I just finished my master's, I'm going to start a food truck. But the more I kept going with it, the more... I'm one of those people, if I start an idea, I'm fine with seeing it through. That's what I'll do once I fix on something. And I'm fine with no help, but there's always been help. And so that was a neat thing, is that as soon as I told people about this, someone helped me start a GoFundMe. It raised $2,000 in the first day.
Wow. And all your friends and family?
Friends and family. And it was just people saying... And I felt so much support after that. It was people saying, hey... We're glad you've done all these other things, but we know this is something you need to do, and this is something you're good at.
Well, one thing I didn't like about the food truck idea, sorry,
just calling it out.
That's me. So was the fact that it was mobile, and that I was afraid you would have to move it all the time, and it's hard enough to cook in a kitchen when it's stationary, but now you're in a restaurant that's mobile. But you actually rented a stationary truck.
Yeah, so that was the thing that worked out. I was actually at a conference in Little Rock for my MSW program, and I had a friend there, and she said, hey, I know this is something you've joked about, but I know someone that's going to rent out their food truck. Something in their family had happened, and they just needed to rent it really quickly. And if you have the opportunity, renting is so much easier, just like you were saying, using a rental kitchen instead of building your own kitchen. It's going to save you so much money. So I was able to, start out just paying. I paid my deposit and had a monthly rent instead of paying, $10,000-$20,000 to start a food truck when I wouldn't know if this was even going to work.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that you were always at the same spot, which was great, so customers could always find you.
And we had a big lot, and so we had picnic tables, and we put lights out, and it worked with the feel of the truck.
And you didn't have any crime issues being open like that?
We had one break-in. Someone busted through our window, but they didn't steal anything.
A bunch of cookies?
They stole some soy milk. It was interesting. But really, it actually kind of helped, because when that happened, we were on Block, which is similar. It's very similar feel to Main Street in Little Rock, but Block Street in Fayetteville. And there's like a Block Street community, and local businesses reached out to us. We got a ton of tips that day because so many people had heard about it through Facebook, through Instagram. And
well, that's because you are a social media marketing guru. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But no one really thought it would work, but you were in the black within 1 year.
Yes.
So when I did my opening thing that said it takes hard work and it takes a long time, there's no instant successes, both of you ladies were pretty successful. You seem like you were too, Sally.
I don't know if I'm not quite in the black yet, but I think we just have a good social support, and the community is supportive of desserts here. So it's really helpful to have people eat lots of sugar.
So I know people got questions.
I don't know. It's easy to sell when people like your product.
So we probably got questions. You're listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, and my guests today are Sara Slimp from Chunky Dunk Food Truck and Sally
Megel.
Thank you, Sally, from Loblolly. What's the phone number if someone wants to call in and talk to them?
That number is 501-433-0088.
Sally, you went from 2 employees because you have a co-founder with you.
Yeah, my mom actually is my...
is?
Yeah. The co-founder is Rachel Moore, and she just helped me start the business, but now my mom and me own it together.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. And now you have 10 employees.
13.
Well, your article's a little bit behind.
Yeah, a little outdated.
Talk to me about hiring employees and going from you and the 2 co-founders.
Right. We've been open for about 5 years. So, in the beginning you do everything and you make a lot of mistakes and you learn from it. The biggest mistake that I've learned is not asking for help. And if I could go back, I would ask for help more. But slowly we hired people. Definitely investing in a good bookkeeper when it gets bigger than just yourself is definitely recommended.
Sometimes business owners will get tied up in the bookkeeping aspect of it.
Yeah,
and
no.
it is actually the easiest part of your business to train.
Yeah, I agree. And making the product, I feel.
Yeah. Are you still making the product?
I'm still churning, yes.
So I had a friend that owned a rental car business, and every time I would talk to her, she would be down there invoicing her customers. Instead of outselling or meeting her customers, she'd be in the back, and I mentored her about getting a bookkeeper, and she could never let go of the money. She was like, oh, but it's the money, it's the money. And it is hard to let go of.
It's definitely, and it's hard to let go on various tasks. Like, I had to be trained and weaned by my team to, like, delegate, because that's really hard. The first thing I delegated was the soda fountain. We have a soda fountain in the Green Corner store where you can get ice cream and sodas and milkshakes and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, the first thing was like hiring a staff to work there so that I could go out and do our wholesale sales and make deliveries and make sure the kitchen has ice cream. And
I want to come back
do
and
events.
talk about that in a little bit. But Sarah, what was the hard? You did not have employees. You relied on your friends and your family to help you. Did you ever hire anybody? I can't remember.
I did never hire anyone. I'll point out now, in May, I sold part of the business to two lovely ladies in Fayetteville, and they are running it for me now, Laura and Tori. And they, when I talked to them, I found out about my job at the Root, knew I wanted to kind of, and we can get back to that, but just knew I wanted to learn a little bit more before I continued Chunky Dunk, but I wanted to keep going. And the first thing I said when I talked to them was, you're going to need employees. Because when I, my last few weekends, I was baking over 1,000 cookies a week, I would say, by myself. And I had a part-time job at the time, too, just to make sure we were making ends meet. And I did rely heavily on friends and family at first, but I know now if I was doing that still, I would definitely hire employees. And at the end I also hired an accountant because it did get too big. I don't have a religious studies and social work. I don't have a business background, no finance, and so you want to make sure you're doing it correctly. It's so important, and to me that was a part I knew I wanted to hire someone for.
When I started my business, I think being concerned about the law and the taxes was the most troubling part. And I'll never remember what my mother said to me, and I was 20 years old, and she said, Kerry, why don't you go start your own business? And I said, Mother, I can't do that. I don't know how to pay taxes and do the business side of it, that state laws and the federal laws and the taxes. And she said, honey, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I have used that methodology all of my life. Jump in and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You can think it to death and never get off the mark. So, Sally, you have, speaking of rules, what are the rules and the hurdles you have to get over for the health department in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Oh, that's a great question.
Why, thank you.
Well, if you are making a food item in Little Rock, you definitely have to have a commercial kitchen. Except, look into cottage laws, so if you're doing baked goods or some canned things, you can get around it. So commercial kitchen, has a grease trap, has...
You have to have a grease trap when you're making ice cream?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, we cook things. We pour milk down the drain.
Oh, I guess that's greasy.
Yeah, it's greasy.
That's why I love it.
Yep. They care about refrigerator temps. They care about your product being labeled, so you need to look up how to label things.
Did you do all that research online?
Yeah, it's super easy.
Oh, see?
And the health department's super nice. They'll come out and show you what to do, and they'll talk to you. And there are some resources I know in Fayetteville.
Yeah, because the U of A works so closely with the Waltons. There's the Walton Business School. If you're a U of A graduate, and if you're not too, I think you can do it sometimes, but you can apply to have kind of like a counseling with a business master's student, and they'll work you through the small business process.
You made a product that you could make in your home that was allowed to be cooked in your home. And you did that specifically so that you didn't have to have a commercial kitchen.
Yes. And it worked out. Smart. Saved money. Yeah.
Right? So you baked at home and then carried all your products down to the food truck.
Yeah. And
is that health department a statewide law, or is that just in Fayetteville?
That's state. That's state.
Yeah, it's all
so
of Arkansas Health Department.
What made you able to cook in your kitchen? what was it about your product that made you able
Baked
to?
good. It was baked.
So baked goods can be cooked in.
Yeah, cottage loft.
And a lot of that started with farmers markets.
yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah. No, it was written for farmers markets because farmers were making,
banana bread.
Yeah.
Cinnamon roll, all these people, and they do canning items too.
Yeah.
And so
it was for the farmers to be able to sell at the farmers market.
but it worked well for us too.
Our people are good, aren't they? So you're listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, and my guests today are Sara Slimp from Chunky Dunk and Sally Megel from Loblolly. And if you want to call in and ask them questions,
that number is 501-433-0088.
you moved to Little Rock, Sarah,
Yes.
and you're working after you sold your business, which is something I've never done. How did you you moved to Little Rock and you're working at the Root.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, I want to hear a little bit about selling your business, how you figured out how to do it, or did you just shoot from the hip?
A little bit of both. So,
And you weren't looking to sell.
I wasn't. That was the
approached
thing.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you go ahead.
Oh no, but that's the
You gonna
amazing
speak
thing.
for Sarah?
No, I'm not.
Yes, please
sorry,
do.
Sorry,
Please do.
Go on, Sarah.
I
I just want to make that point because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because I remember calling you and
Yeah.
being like, well, so part of the story is I thought about opening a brick and mortar and found a place, was so excited about it. Ended up there was a business there that wouldn't allow us to be in the building because they sold desserts also.
Conflict of interest.
Yes. And
Don't
so-
they know like businesses together do better?
That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I remember calling Sally and I was really excited about this. And I was like, would you be interested? Would you guys want to have something like the Green Corner store where there was a little soda shop? And it was already a soda shop. It was beautiful. But after, we were fully in, I was so excited about it and found out I had the owner show me around, went to start up, talking about writing up papers, and this other company said like, no, we don't want them there. After that, it was just kind of a low blow, and I didn't really recover well from it. I looked around and just everything I saw, nothing measured up. And
More Providence.
Yeah. And it was just, I'm a firm believer of like things happen for a reason. And I felt like there was a reason that didn't work out. And that's when I started talking to Jack and Corey, owners of the Root, wonderful place. And they, I got offered this job and at the Root to do all their baked goods as they're expanding. And I just kind of felt like it would be really good for me to learn more before I continued with Chunky Dunk, because we were starting to get, especially when the students were back in Fayetteville, we were starting to get way too much business for me to handle on my own. And
What a nice problem to have.
it was good. Like you said, sugar sells. So
Yeah.
we use social media, and I think you guys do at Loblolly too. Like social media is such a big promotion thing.
Oh yeah, and it's free.
It's totally free.
It's like if you're not using it, you're missing out.
You're
on a
losing
huge
money.
Group of people. Yeah, you're losing money.
And especially in Fayetteville with the school, there's so many young people there that reach out on social media. So all of our promotions were usually Facebook and Instagram. And when we decided to, I guess I keep saying we, but when I decided to move on, I put out a post saying, this is what I'm doing. It was probably too emotional for a business post, but I was pretty sad about leaving, but also excited about the potential of doing something new and something to help me grow as a baker. About a week later, I had 2 customers reach out to me, and at first I thought it was kind of a joke.
Reach out to you to buy. The
yeah,
business because you said you were moving and shutting it down.
Yes, and they reached out and they just said, we're our friend group. We're all just so sad, and that was kind of at first that's what they started with, and then they said that they were interested in taking over if that was something I was interested in, and continuing what I had started. And when you open a business, shutting down for whatever reason, whether it's to move on to something else, whether it's because you have to shut down because of finances.
It's emotional.
It is emotional. And the fact that someone wanted to continue something I had started was that was almost better than any part of it.
Validating you. Sally, you have a very diverse sales distribution. I've seen your ice cream in the freezer section at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. I've seen your ice cream at food trucks like Chunky Dunk. Mm-hmm. I've seen it in restaurants, and I've even seen it at the movie theater. Mm-hmm. Don't you? And I think you have a food truck too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this sounds like a logistic nightmare to me. It's a perishable product.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you transport it, and how do you restock it?
Yeah. Great questions. Well, we used to just deliver it in my car with a cooler. And you know, like, I started this because I wanted ice cream at the soda fountain, and it turned into a business. I never really thought, like, okay, I want to go in the food business. What should I make? If I did, I probably wouldn't have picked ice cream because it melts. And then when you refreeze it, it's not the same.
Nope.
It's not like frozen vegetables where you can kind of get away with refreezing. It's but it's a beautiful product because you have to focus on it. You know, ice cream's not like a bag of chips where you can put it in a bowl, walk away, munch on it. You have to, like, focus on the ice cream.
I never thought about that. You're right. And I focus on it every night.
And it's fun. It's versatile. You can do a lot of flavors. But anyways, for delivery, we now upgraded to a delivery truck. We have a freezer truck, so it keeps it cold upon delivery, which is really lovely.
How did you ever do it without a delivery truck with a freezer? You just
would-
ran really fast. You just broke all the laws and ran through the stoplights?
We had really nice Yeti ice. I recommend it. That product is great. Like dry ice. I bought a lot of dry ice.
I gotcha.
But we didn't start delivering to Fayetteville until we got the delivery truck.
Well, now that's not true because Sarah borrowed my car one time and took it to Fayetteville. Because I have a van and she filled it up with your ice cream and took it to Fayetteville. You probably don't know that. So I was a delivery truck.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, and that's because we ran out so quickly because the ice cream was so good. We had so many people buy it that we had to, like, come down on a special trip that wasn't on their delivery system.
Yeah.
I love your green tea ice cream.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, I like salt on my ice cream.
Yeah, I do too. Our salted caramel is pretty salty and sweet. It's good too. But yeah, and then restocking the ice cream, it's just all about, I text mostly to people because everyone's so busy that it's not bugging them. They can get back. But I text my wholesale customers every week to see if they need product.
Sarah, what was the hardest part about a food truck?
That's a good
Space.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm trying to think of what I'd say.
What was the biggest surprise about a food truck? How well it went.
I would also say, like, the hardest thing for me was the wall between you and the customer. So every other food service job I'd had, and coming off of a degree where I was learning about counseling, you're really not supposed to have a table in between you. So if you're doing having a therapy session, you're not supposed to have a table between you and your client. And a lot of times in the food truck, because I was renting and I couldn't change the way the window worked, I really felt like I could not interact with the customers as much as I wanted to. And luckily, I'd have friends volunteer and I could go out and reach out. But I think that's so crucial, is making a connection with them.
That is a really observant thing to say, and I have actually thought that. I bought something from a food truck today, and
You're just like,
no, and she sticks her
There's no
hand out the
connection.
window and kind of waves
Yeah.
at you like your food's ready, and you're like, who?
well, and
who's she
sometimes
talking
we
to?
did that. I mean, we'd get so busy. But luckily, that's why I brought my dog. Chandler he's lost 10 pounds since I stopped doing Chunky Dunk.
Because everybody's not
Because
feeding him.
everyone gave him so many cookies. But that was kind of what he was out there for, is because I knew, like, well, I'm so busy, I can't help, but just have to hand you the cookie. But Chandler will greet you and sit by you while you eat your ice cream.
Oh, and he's good too. I think that's another reason your social media did well. Everybody took pictures of Chandler and shared it. You're listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy and my guest Sara Slimp from the Chunky Dunk Food Truck in Fayetteville, and Sara Megel from Loblolly Creamery right here in Main Street in Little Rock, Arkansas. You can phone in and ask them questions at
501-433-0088.
So, Sally, you have wholesalers.
Yes. Partnerships, collaborators.
Is that what you call them?
Yeah, because I feel like, they're sharing their space with me, and especially in grocery stores, freezer space is really competitive. There's not much of it. So they're partnering with us to sell our product. I try to work with them as best as I can.
So, do they pay you up front for your ice cream, or is it on consignment?
Up front, because of the nature of the product, definitely up front.
I wondered about that when I saw it at the movie theater. I thought, wow, is it on consignment?
No, they buy cases of it.
That would be a nightmare, I would think.
Yeah, I
trying to
wouldn't.
do it
For
on
food,
consignment.
I would never do consignment. There's a shelf life.
Yeah.
That seems silly.
So this is very ambitious to implement all these different types of
Sales
distribution.
categories, I
Yes,
guess. Because
and-
not only do we do wholesale, we have a retail, and we want to expand that. And then we have a solar-powered ice cream truck that we do special events and caterings. We do other caterings, and just managing.
I can't believe you only have 13 employees, really,
Yeah.
for all of that. People call me and ask me all the time if I wholesale flags. And I have never figured out how to do that.
You just sell like 30% discount to them. And
Well, I offer sales at that discount if you are on my e-blast.
Dempsey only does 30.
So I guess they could just be wholesalers and just buy from the sales
Yeah,
that
just
I offer.
just give they just get the discount and they have to order a certain amount of flags.
Certain quantities.
Yeah.
Which one of your product placements does the best, or do you like the best, that has the least amount of effort in restocking and sells the most?
It depends on what kind of business it is. Like Chunky Dunk is definitely one of them. Every other week they order like 20 gallons.
You sold that much ice cream up there?
And the thing is, like, when
Really?
I feel like y'all are at more
Crazy.
places.
All those sorority girls,
They
love
love it.
ice cream and cookies.
That
Love
makes
it.
total sense.
Well, and when we started,
She would get
you
herds
guys-
of them.
Oh my gosh,
at like
it was-
20 at a time. It
no
was
wonder
crazy.
social media works so well.
All right.
And I like them because of social media. They credit us. They promote us.
we were one
they
of the
know
few
how to
people
compliment
doing
Loblolly.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
but-
the only one right now. Yeah.
Well, there's like Blackboard and Whole Foods.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we had people that would come and specifically to get Loblolly that had just moved from Little Rock, or they had just heard that we sold this ice cream that they had growing up or something if they were in Little Rock.
So we have a caller.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm on the air.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, who is the host of the show?
Kerry McCoy, Arkansas
That's Kay
Flag and Banner.
talking?
Yeah.
Well, Kay, this is Free Willie. Listen, Kay, I don't know how old you is, but I'm 73, going on 19.
What?
I'm
I
73.
love this.
and
I
I'm
love this
going-
live show. Okay, good.
And I'm going on 19. In other words, my question is this here. Is I'm too young to start a business at 73?
No.
I don't know. If you feel like you're 19, you're absolutely not too young to start a business. Do you have a business question for
Well,
me?
I tell you what, I have the entrepreneur spirit because I grew up around that. My parents back in Cross County, not my parents, but my parents' peoples, they had little restaurants and stuff like that. So I grew up around people that didn't really believe in punching clocks. They kind of, believe in owning their own little business. Wasn't nothing but just selling hamburgers out the window or whatever,
Right.
So what I'm saying, one of the reasons why that I really want to get into this entrepreneur thing, I want to do it for my grandkids.
That's a good idea.
And I want them to really get the spirit while they're young, the power of being an entrepreneur.
The independence that comes from being an entrepreneur is, I think, one of the reasons. That
So my question is, my wife, she said here by me, she come to find out she bought a book from you, and I bet she said you signed it. No, correction. She said I'm wrong by it. Well, you see how young I am. My mind is slipping. But anyway, she said that she bought one from you when you a few years back. And I used to stay. I had an uncle stayed on 9th and State. I don't know if you remember that there was 2 shotgun houses back in the day. Used to be on 9th and State. You remember that?
I really don't. When I bought the building, it did not have those houses, but I've seen pictures, and I know that the other side of 9th Street were all shotgun houses, and the side of the street that I'm on were all the businesses, and the people would just walk across the street to their businesses.
Well, here's the deal. Now, on 9th and State, there was 2 shotgun houses, and west of 9th and State, right across from my uncle, it was a club there. I forgot the name of Flamingo Club.
Yeah, the Flamingo Club.
Right. Well, now that building that you were in there used to be a big drugstore, right?
Jim Pharmacy.
Jim Pharmacy. He was Afro-American, right?
Right.
So I'm not just making this stuff up.
No, I know you're not.
I'm not making this stuff up. But I used to come over here for my vacation back. Well, actually, I've been coming to Little Rock for back in the 40s.
Yeah.
When they had the streetcars and what have you.
You need to come to Dancing into Dreamland and bring your beautiful bride and come to Dancing into Dreamland on November the 18th, and I'll give you a tour myself of the Taborian Hall and the Dreamland Ballroom. You're going to love it.
You
very
said November the 18th?
November the 18th. Come on down, and I'll meet with you and give
Well,
you
what
a
did
tour.
I got to have? I ain't got no tuxedo.
You don't need a tuxedo.
Well,
It's the 21st century. You can wear blue jeans anywhere.
I got a black suit, though.
That'll work just fine. Bring your beautiful bride and come down up to the 3rd floor to the Dreamland Ballroom, and we're going to have our only fundraiser of the year, and I'll give you a tour.
Well,
so have you got a question for me, or I'm going to open up this line for the next caller?
I tell you what, I got a question.
All right, shoot, baby.
I got a question for you. Listen, what I want to do, I want to know, could you, if me and my wife come down there, could you put, say, about 10 points on paper how to start a business?
I absolutely will. Or you can call me or go to my website, and I will work with you personally on it. I could start a business in a heartbeat and give you 10 points.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And you don't know, you have really made my day. And I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to hang up.
Okay.
That's funny. You said November 18th. Don't you know my birthday is November 16th?
There you go. It's your birthday present.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. That was a nice call. 10 points to start your business. I may just put that online. I'm writing that down. That was a good idea. I may do that every time. So, Sally, you have a very diverse product line. I noticed that you were selling kombucha.
We're not doing that anymore.
Good, because that tastes terrible.
Oh, well, it's subjective.
They made me drink it, almost threw up every time, but I know it's good for you.
Yeah, it's vinegary for sure.
But you do bottled sodas and drinks still?
We did. That was when we were really like doing the farmers market circuit, and we were selling. It was really hot, and people wanted a cold drink.
So you streamlined again?
Yeah, we mostly just sell ice cream. That's our main thing.
I think that's smart.
Yeah, we do make French macarons for the soda fountain and wholesale those. And then we do confections in the wintertime and more baked goods in the wintertime and hot drinking chocolate, that kind of stuff.
So, Sarah, you've got you moved to Little Rock, you started working for the Root Cafe, and tonight they've got something special going on. You want to tell everybody what it is?
Yeah, we have the Root. We've started, if you haven't been, we usually serve breakfast and lunch all week, Tuesday through Sunday. And the second and fourth Fridays, we've started doing dinners. So the second Friday is a ticketed dinner, and fourth Friday is a open table service dinner. We're doing it tonight from 5 to 8. And we'll have the chef. He has made some wonderful, I know I was just telling Sally there's this stuffed macaroni dish that I really hope no one buys so I can eat.
So you take it home tonight?
Yes, that's all I want for dinner. I've made a bunch of desserts. It's been pretty fun, getting to branch out from, I still made some cookies for tonight. But,
what are some desserts you made?
So for tonight we have, my one cookie dish is just a little cookie with a fresh peach cream on top. And
you didn't bring me any again?
No. We've got a cheesecake apple streusel bar with homemade caramel, a pear black sesame crumble with a green matcha tea ice cream and honey.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah,
Jack's coming on
good.
to our show in a few weeks. And he's going to talk about all this expansion he's been doing, because they are really expanding. Adding a pastry chef like you is one of the expansions that he's done. He's added on a dining room. It sounds like he's going to dining at night. So we're going to have them on.
Yes.
I think he comes on in 4 weeks. I also read, Sally, that you're always coming up with new flavors. Why? Why can't you just pick the best ones and stay with those?
I think people expect us to at this point. It makes us different. We're always changing things up so that people have to kind of look at our Facebook or Instagram or come in and see what's new. And we do a lot of custom flavors for caterings and wholesalers. So if someone wants a roasted banana ice cream with toffee, we can do that. Just last week, we made 2 custom flavors for a wedding. The bride got to make her flavor, the groom got to make his flavor, and instead of a wedding cake, they had ice cream. So
you made a flavor for the Dreamland Ballroom?
Yes, I remember that.
You do? I do too. That's when I first heard about you. All right, we've got another caller. Hey, this is Kerry McCoy. You're on the air.
Hi, my name's Andy. I'm really enjoying this interview. I was actually having trouble getting a question for a while because y'all been doing so great. I love Loblolly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I haven't checked out Chunky Dunk, but it sounds wonderful.
Well, or go to the Root and have some of our baked goods.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to do that. I'm a small business owner here in Little Rock. I found that the number one issue that gives me the most anxiety about the business is tax stuff. And because I'm just totally ignorant about it. I'm very new to this. It's my second year doing it. And I've been getting to the point where I think I might need to hire a professional to help with this. I'm kind of at this point where I don't even know where to start with that. I don't know.
Are you talking about paying your sales tax monthly? Or are you talking about paying your income tax at the end of the year?
Yeah, the annual filings, hiring a CPA or
Are you a sole proprietor or a corporation?
I'm a sole proprietor.
That's the best way.
That's the other thing. I'm a Well, it's an LLC, but I'm the only.
Oh, you are an LLC?
Yeah, but we've changed to where I'm the only owner of the LLC. So, I mean, the best information I could find online is that it's considered a sole proprietorship, but I just wasn't sure, and I didn't know what kind of resources y'all had to kind of connect businesses with, or small business with.
Send me an email, and I'll hook you up with somebody. And I think we're going to have some tax people on to help, because I think that is a problem of every single solitary small business. And I never did mine. From day one, I hired somebody because I was scared to death of it.
Yeah.
I was scared to death of it, and I just found some person that was not with a large company, so there wasn't like 5 names on the door. I just found a single person through word of mouth, who actually, he was an older gentleman. He was almost retired, and he could do my taxes in an hour. It didn't cost me very much. He didn't have a lot of overhead, and that's what I would recommend. I'm scared to do my own taxes, too.
I would say, too, this past year, I went to the state, and I took it up with them and said, there's a lot of people that will come and help you. So if you call up and say, I'm a small business, I'm reaching out to my local government to see if there's someone that can work with me on this. I had someone come out, and he actually, his wife was a small business owner, and that's how he got into working on state taxes. And so that was really helpful in that area. And then when I went to do, my yearly giant number that's so terrifying for someone that isn't in finances, I found someone that was through the U of A, and I'm sure you could probably do it through Euler too, that is
Euler's
graduating.
Good.
Yeah.
So you called the state of Arkansas and asked them who to use for taxes?
Yeah,
for
well,
your income taxes?
Yes, and then so I just said, I don't know how to do this. Please tell me something, because I just didn't want to mess up.
They gave you the name of somebody.
Yeah, and
Department of Finance, I guess.
Yes, they usually will. People are so scared, I think, of using the government for tax reasons, but just watch Parks and Rec and then call, and you'll feel better.
Yeah, and Euler has a small business office that has free classes and also will help you. And then SCORE, it's an acronym. I don't know.
They
what it
still
means.
have that senior retired.
Yeah, it's great. I use them. Actually, I have a person on our team that we took from SCORE, but SCORE is great. They will mentor you and advise you, and it's not just for taxes, but for just business in general.
That's a great question. Thank you for calling. Caller,
Thank
did
you
we
so
help
much.
you? Okay.
Yeah, y'all did a great job.
What's your
Thank you.
business?
I'm Cajun Snow.
Okay, hey Cajun Snow. Awesome.
I think I've met you, actually. I just came out there the other day and
I'm
talked
so
to you.
glad you asked him that. My son worked for you, didn't he?
Oh,
No, it's
Matthew worked for Cajun
It's a new
Snow.
owner, though.
New
right?
owner,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great
Are you
job.
open still? How long are you going to be?
into September.
End of September?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
I'm coming tomorrow.
What's your favorite flavor? I'm just curious.
My favorite flavor is either probably wedding cake or
Yes.
we got a tropical one, ocean mist.
Ooh.
I like the adult margarita one.
Ooh. Yeah, you need to get some boozy Cajun Snows.
If we bring it, can we? Is that allowed?
Oh, yeah, BYOB.
Oh, well, yeah. Y'all did not just learn that from me, did you?
That's awesome. Yay. I like
I
frozen
have to teach
treats.
people everything. All right, Cajun Snow, thank you for calling
Thank
in.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
That's so
I'm glad
that's
you
so
asked
cool.
him that.
That's so cool he was listening. And
I know we've got history together too.
Yeah.
So the
He's fun.
process of making ice cream is tedious. Are you still making it yourself?
Well, actually, I started making it, then I stopped, and now I'm back in it.
Why'd you go back to it? Because you didn't like the way they did it.
No, that's not why.
You love making it.
I could afford now to go back.
Oh,
And
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what you like to do is make ice cream.
I like ice cream.
So you have
like
to
to
test
sample
every
it.
one of them. So
Well,
is-
it's the creativity, you know?
is-
You want to be part of the creativity.
I gotcha. So is work ruining either one of your passions?
My personal life?
No, your
My
work,
passion.
Your passion. She started.
both guy. Yes.
Down, girl. No, Sarah had a passion for baking. You have a passion for making ice cream. So is work taking the fun out of that?
No.
It's not.
No, not yet.
I was going to say,
That's nice.
it's not necessarily taking the fun out of it, but baking used to be my hobby.
Right.
And so I really have had to reach to find a new hobby.
Right. Like, I don't have any hobbies. I need to get out there. And also, I look at ice cream not as other people do. Like they use it for celebrate. Like I use it for celebration, but I see it as a work. But I really want to hone my craft and make it the best it can be.
So this may be our last question before we run out of time. You've been listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, and my guest is Sara Slimp from Chunky Dunk Food Truck in Fayetteville, and Sally Megel from Little Rock's Loblolly. You may have one time for call in. Give the phone number one more time. We might.
501-433-0088.
It would be a very short call, but Sally, and none of them have been so far. Sally, I think you just explained this to me, but what is your philosophy, your business philosophy, and your business model?
Oh, I'm still trying to figure all of that out. But I think my business philosophy.
I wish they could see your eyes. You had the biggest eyes when
I know it's like what's the secret to life question? You know, like I haven't figured it out. But I think my business philosophy. We say this a lot at Loblolly. It's communication, teamwork, respect, and accountability. That's for my team philosophy, and it's a work in progress every day for our team because it's like you're building a culture and a community in itself. But also for my business philosophy is you're part of the community. So be a steward of the community. I love to partner with people and do fun collaborations and give back to nonprofits. And so what we do is we make an ice cream flavor for that nonprofit and make a portion of that sale of that flavor that we co-create with the nonprofit goes back to them. So be part of the community. And then my, what was the last, not the philosophy, but the
business model. I think you said
I say yes to everything, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, I think that's an excellent idea.
But yeah, that's how I got to do all these things is I just said yes.
Somebody just wrote a book like that, and Oprah put it on the bestseller. I think it's...
You never know what opportunities you're going to get. And everything is PR, and everything, like you never know by talking to this one customer how they're going to become a loyal customer.
Well, Sara really got me out of a pinch because I have got guests all through the year of 2016.
You have your own private caterer.
I know, right? But, well, and that too.
She doesn't, well, the first time Kerry ever met me, she said, "You're the person that keeps hitting all these fattening things in my house."
I know. Well, you can tell I don't eat a lot of fattening things, but I do eat ice cream every day. And she's got me eating cookies now.
A little bit.
Nice. They go together.
They really do.
What's your business model and philosophy, Sara?
Well, when I was...
She says yes to cookies and ice cream.
I say yes to... I was going to say I do...
She is really good customer service, though.
Oh, I know what
She's
I was
like the
say.
best customer service.
Sara also says yes about everything.
Yeah, she does.
She does. And when and I can
nice.
tell you're a yes person because when she called you up and asked you, I called Sara night before last and said, "Sara, I'm in a pinch. My Friday show has got a conflict. I'm booked all the way through the rest of 2016, but I was having a hard time with someone for this show today." And I called Sara up, and I said, "Why don't you call Loblolly, your friend?" And she said, "Sure." And both of you girls got it together so fast. I was so impressed. I owe both of y'all.
We owe you ice cream and cookies.
That's right, you do. That is an entrepreneurial spirit, though.
You got to just make it work, make it happen, and have fun. Like, because again, it's not brain surgery. Life, it's not going to end. Right?
No, it's not. I have to remind people that when their flag or banner doesn't get there on time, I'm like, it's not brain surgery. Nobody's dying, but you would think they are sometimes.
There's like a Leslie Knope quote. God, I just love Parks
and Recreation. You love Parks and Recreation.
Leslie Knope fuels me every time I think I can't do something. But there's this quote, and it is so. I mean, all my friends, especially during Chunky Dunk, are like, "This is you," because she just says something to the extent of everyone's like, "Well, why don't we stop working?" And she says, "No, life is all about not sleeping. We're going to not sleep, skirt all of our other obligations just to make this work. It's fine. And she's not slept for 48 hours, and that's about how my life. Today I worked since 6. I just got off work. We're doing the radio show, and I go back at 4 to work.
So, Sara, what are you going to do next? No, really, Sara, what are your future plans? Do you have any idea? Or are you just winging it?
I just wing life.
Carl Jung called it synchronicity. I call it listening to life because I think it drives some of my employees crazy a little bit. Sometimes they all want to know exactly what's going to happen next week, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, though, that ultimately, I wouldn't have started Chunky Dunk if I had these super laid out plans. And in my head, I'm a big planner, and
you got to be flexible.
You have to know, I could plan all of these things out, but they're not going to happen. One of the 10 things I'm thinking might happen.
Well, you got to be apt for change because you have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I have a gift for y'all.
Oh, scared.
It's a cigar.
A cigar?
Yes, Monica.
Wowza.
Yes, Monica. It's a cigar. I want to thank both of y'all for coming. And the reason you're getting a cigar is because
We're going to Cajun Snow tonight.
No, it's
Cajun Snow for everyone.
It's because starting a business is like birthing a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think birthing
that's
a monster sometimes.
And I often say, Arkansas Flag and Banner is my firstborn. And I
Yeah.
really love it that much. It really does feel like one of my children. Like when Sarah said she sold it and that somebody wanted it, it was really validated.
it's your baby.
I don't think we have time for the last caller, but I will be here next week at the same time on KABF. And my guest will be Matt McLeod from the Fine Arts Gallery. He opened up a fine arts gallery also on Main Street. Oddly enough, it's like Main Street Week, or it might be Dempsey Bakery. They're kind of switching around their.
I like Paula.
Yeah, they're kind of and I'm gluten free, so that'll be a great show.
Maybe she'll bring you snacks.
And she's owned a lot of. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna shame her into it. And she's owned several businesses, so she'll be a great guest too. And Matt McLeod is talking about taking your passion and turning it into a business. He just opened up the Fine Arts Gallery down on Main Street, and he's doing some great things. And then on October the 14th, I am unable to be here, so RJ from iProv will be here to sit in for me on October the 14th. And he is a great entrepreneur, and I don't know who his guest is going to be, so it's going to be really fun. But I've almost got the 2016 schedule laid completely out. And
You're organized.
I know. Well,
How about
everybody wants to do
planning?
it. Everybody
awesome.
wants to do it. It's so fun.
I love
And it's
talking.
mentoring, you know. So I'll put it on upinyourbusiness.com, and we'll put the list of people up so people can be empowered to go there and see who our guests will be in the next few weeks. So to our listeners, I hope you've learned something today that will help you up your business. I'm Kerry McCoy, and I'll see you next week on KABF Radio every Friday at 2. Until then, hang tough and keep it up.
You've been listening to Up in Your Business with Kerry McCoy, a production of flagandbanner.com. If you miss any part of the show or want to learn more about UIYB, go to flagandbanner.com and click on Radio Show. Like us on Facebook or subscribe to her weekly podcast wherever you like to listen. All interviews are recorded and posted the following week with links to resources you heard discussed on today's show. Underwriting opportunities available upon request. Kerry's goal is to help you live the American dream.